Hey there guys, in this 2D side-scrolling tutorial we're going to cover another simple thing that you see often in games, which is coins in crates. So you have a crate and you hit it underneath and it creates a coin for you. Let's go ahead and make that inside of Project Spark. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm actually going to just move this goblin away. This is the goblin that we created in the last tutorial. We're going to move him up here so that he is not in your way when you're trying to get to this crate. The next thing is we're going to go into our object gallery. Let's just look up crate. Let's go for this wooden crate right here. And let's bring this out. Let's line it up, make sure it's on the same axis as the player. Everything you put out here that you want to be on the same axis as the player, it's just really important you make sure it's lined up with them. That's why also this pathway, or any pathway, is a great way to do that for you. Makes things a lot easier. So let's just bring that. Let's raise it up a few here, and there we have our crate. So unlike our goblin, which was looking for when something jumps on it, we have a crate that wants to look for when you're basically below it and hit it from above. So this crate is also going to be using a trigger zone. So let's go ahead and go into Edit, Properties, Brain, Sensors, and turn on its trigger sensor. So just like before, very large trigger sensor here. Let's grab this trigger sensor and let's go ahead and shrink it down. So it's still pretty large. And you know, I typically find that, so I've constrained the x-axis here. I am completely fine with the idea of having sort of the x scale be larger or longer than this crate. Makes it a bit easier in case I accidentally kind of offset it. But we want y and z to be much better. So let's see, we still have y is pretty large right here. Let's just decrease that a bit. That's looking about right. Something like that I think should work pretty well. We want this thing to be just below the crate, just enough below so that it's able to detect you before you bump into the crate. So you don't want the trigger zone to be right here because you're never actually going to get inside of it, because that crate's collision will keep you from getting inside of it. So let's just have it a bit below. So right there looks about good. And just for consistency, let's move it out here, and I think that should do. So this crate doesn't really need to worry about if the player is above it, below, to the side of it, because really there's no way the player can get to it unless it is below this crate. So we don't have to worry about doing as much code in this crate as we did with the goblin. The crate only really needs to look for, let's choose in trigger zone, just like we had with Goblin. And again, it's looking for if the global player is in its trigger zone. So we go to Values, Global, Values, Object, Player. So now this is detecting for when the global player is in the trigger zone. Then, you know, for now, we are just simply going to say do create objects, gallery picker, and we're going to choose a coin. So do create coin. Let's just leave it like that and test that. So let's go, let's jump, and it's creating this coin at a weird offset. It's creating it to, you know, behind it. And so let's collect that coin. We hit it again, and it's still creating coins for us. So there's a few problems here. We have a coin always being created when we're bumping into this, and the coin is not being created above this thing. So let's fix both of those. Go back into Edit. Let's jump into the brain of this crate. So when you create an object, you also have a modifier you can use. You have two modifiers, actually. You have towards, which just sets where their position is facing towards. And you also have at position. We want to go ahead and use at position. And now we can set this crate to create a coin. Go to position, offset, and let's choose above. Now this is going to create a coin just above the crate. So this should fix our positional issue. Now if we want to fix the issue where we kept on being able to create coins every time we hit this crate, we want to bring in a new type of timing and logic tile called once. Once is going to run one time in the entire game in this object. So this now says this one time that you're in the trigger zone of this crate, it creates a coin. After that one time has elapsed, this thing will never fire again. Jump into test. So we hit this crate. We see, oh, it creates a coin just above, although it's still a bit low. It's kind of right in the crate. Let's hit it again, and you see nothing happens. So we had that thing happen once, and now it's not going to happen again. So I want to go ahead and fix that issue where the coin was spawning inside the crate, but I actually want to fix it in a new way where a lot of times what I'll see in a game is you hit a crate and the coin kind of continues to move up while spinning just to show you that you got a coin. This is where we use something called templates. So let's open up our prop gallery. Let's choose a coin from here. Let's bring this out here in the world, and I want to just rotate this so that it is facing the camera to start with. So this coin, we are going to, coins always have default brains inside of them. Let's just go ahead and delete all of this. And we want this coin to be spinning around. So that would be a yaw, because this spins it around on the y-axis. So we don't want it to be spinning around with a yaw. We also want the coin to be continually going up. So we've kind of talked about the different vectors in Project Spark. Now you have X is constrained, so X is kind of forward and backwards. Z is here, it's left and right. And then Y is up and down. So that means we want this coin to be continually moving up in the Y vector. We can do that pretty simply here by just saying, going to position and say position Y, go to math and say increment, and increment increases it by, let's choose a small number here, 0.1. And we want to choose a small number because there's nothing on the win side constraining this. This means this coin, every single frame will increment by 0.1 meters on the y-axis. So it's going to move up sort of fast. 1 meter in 1/3 of a second is how fast it's going to be moving. And then we want this coin to be destroyed after a certain amount of time. So maybe after a countdown timer of 1 second, go to create and choose destroy. It's great that destroy is under the create tile because you can create and destroy at the same time. So we have a coin that's doing the thing that we want it to do. But let's just jump into test. Let's not hook this up yet to the crate. And you're going to see that, well, there's already a coin there, and that's the coin that we place in the world. So how do we make that coin just kind of a stamp that we get to use in our different objects? This is where templates come in play. So let's go to Edit, go to the properties of this coin, and go to Brain, and you're going to see this template option. If we turn template to true, you're going to see this thing kind of starting to flash purple. That is an indication that this is now a stamp. And let's also go ahead and name this. It's great practice that basically everything that you use, you want to name. And even though it was already called coin, the reason why we wanted to name that is you go to your menu, you're going to see this show named objects list. And this is a great way to kind of allow you to move around between all the different objects here. Now we have a lot of rabbits. These rabbits were brought in with our biome brush, which we're fine with that. But you go through all the different rabbits, and you're going to see this coin now that we created. So this allows you to jump between all the different game objects that are named. Makes it really easy, especially as your world gets bigger. All right, so our coin is a template. Now we go inside of here, and instead of creating a coin, let's choose the in-world picker, and let's choose this coin right here. Now it's going to create this coin when this thing is hit. So jump into test. Let's hit this. And perfect. We have a coin that goes up, spins around, looks great. Looks really great. Exactly what we wanted. But let's have something happen to this wooden crate now. So there's two things that we can happen. We can have either this crate be destroyed, or we can have the crate kind of turn gray to show that it's already been hit. You want some sort of indicator that a crate has been used. So both those are very easy to do. I'm actually going to create both lines here. So we can just simply have destroy, and that just destroys this crate as soon as it creates the coin. And then we can also have right here, let's go to appearance, go over a page to color properties, choose solid color equals, go to values, color, choose colors, and choose gray. Solid color is the entire color of that object. So just here we are now setting the entire color of the object to gray. Before it was a wood brown color. Now this will make it gray. And we can toggle between these two by using, go to time and logic, using ignore line. When you use ignore line, that ignores whatever line and all the children lines that you've set this on. So now destroy is going to be ignored, and this thing is going to turn gray. So we're going to test that out. So the thing gets gray, the coin goes up, great. Now we're going to change the ignore line to be line 4, remove it from here, so we now have it destroyed instead. So we go hit it, gets destroyed, and the coin goes up. Both those look great. We'll leave it up to you how you want to toggle it. You can, of course, create your own experience here, create your own kind of thing to happen to the crate. Whatever you want it to happen. Now, next is we want this crate to also give you an indicator that you have received a coin. So let's go ahead and use a number variable here. This is the first time I think we'll be using number variable. Well, that's not true. We used it the first time around. But we're going to be using another global variable here. The global variable we're going to be using, let's go to global. So we chose global. Let's go to number, new number variable. And actually, looks like I already created it. So I could just have new number variable called coin counter, but I already created this. So let's choose coin counter. So global coin counter, increment by 1. So now when I'm in the trigger zone of this crate, it creates this coin that spins around, and it also increases this global number variable called coin counter by 1. Now inside of our player, we can reference that, and let's create a new line here, and on the do side, let's say display. Let's first choose text. Let's type in text, coins collected, and put a space there too. It's important you put a space there, even though you're not really going to use this space in this context. You are going to need it for when you're displaying the number after it. So coins collected with a space. Then we're going to bring in our global, go to values again, coin counter variable. And we put the space there so that we have a natural space and then the number right here. It's not going to automatically put a space there for you. So then let's go to modifiers, position, and let's just set the screen location to be screen top right. Let's go to modifiers, font size, and make it extra large font. Jump into test, and we see coins collected default every single number variable. If you haven't given it some sort of value to start with, it starts at 0, and that's great for us because we want to start at 0 coins. So I now hit this thing, and our coins collected has increased to 1. That's exactly what we wanted here. If, for instance, we wanted our coins to start at, say, 10, then I might just simply put in our global player under the once side, we can just say do global, go to number variable, and coin counter equals, let's just say 10 right here. And we can have multiple objects setting things for this global number variable, or really for any global variable. You can have multiple things, multiple objects setting it. It's just really important you make sure to kind of track all that, because it can start to get confusing the more objects you're using to set a different variable, such as a number variable, and do different things with a variable, because things can get confused. If, for instance, you have one object that 2 seconds into the game sets your coin counter to be equal to 10, but you hit a crate before the 2-second mark, then it'll go up by 1, but then go up to 10 suddenly, and it won't go up to 11. So there's things that can happen. Just make sure that with all global variables you're setting, see where they are being used, and use them sparingly. Only use global variables when you kind of need to set something that happens throughout the entire game for everything. The last thing we're going to do is, so we have our crate here, and we're going to have a lot of crates probably throughout this game. A lot of different crates that you can hit and get coins. You will probably want your player to collect more than just one coin the entire stage, or maybe you just want them to collect one coin. That's up to you. The thing that can get kind of hard or challenging in any sort of game creation software is, so let's say we have 3 crates here. Let's put them all side by side. And let's say we've decided that, actually, I think it's cooler when the color turns gray and this object isn't destroyed. So let's change this so we ignore that line and don't ignore this line. Now you have to go through each of these 3 things and change that. Which, it's not too bad here because we only have 3 objects, so you only have to change that behavior 3 times. But imagine a world where you have, 200 of these around your world. That gets to be really tedious if you want to just have simply one line of code change in your coin crates. This is where templates become really useful for more than just things like this coin that are referenced that you want to have default behavior in. Templates are useful for really any object in your world that's used often and has code in it. You probably want to make a template. So that'll include this enemy. We're going to make this enemy a template outside of this tutorial. So it'll be actually great practice between this tutorial and next one to make the enemy a template, following the same steps we use with this wooden crate. So we want this wooden crate to be a template. So we're going to actually move this outside of the play zone. And we're going to bring in a logic cube here to kind of replace this. So we have a logic cube. So let's just make sure this is kind of on the same height as the crate. Looks like it is. And then it's also in the same plane as the player. That is. So first, let's make this crate a template by going to Properties, Brain, Turn Template to True. Let's also change the name of this wooden crate to call it Coin Crate. And now in this logic cube, we are just simply going to say when, once, do, create, go to Objects, in World Picker, and choose this coin crate. And then also as a child line, do destroy. And this destroys this logic cube. So the logic cube creates the coin crate and then destroys itself. So this logic cube has now just become a place mark for where this coin crate goes. We can change the code in this coin crate, and that's going to affect any coin crate that we have spawned in here. So let's actually, before we do anything else with logic cube, let's jump into test because there's one other thing that we haven't done yet. So I want to show you that. Now the coin crate is much higher than it was before, even though we had it at the same kind of the same height as it was before. And that again goes into position. So we haven't set any sort of create position of this coin crate. We want to create it at the exact same position as this logic cube in terms of height. So let's go over to modifiers, at position, and go to position, and we want to choose a socket called the root. And then we have to set position again. So the root is basically the very bottom of the object. Sort of, you think about a tree has roots. The roots are at the very bottom of the tree. This is the very bottom of the object. So this allows you to create this coin crate so that it's at its bottom is the exact same place as the bottom of the logic cube, which is just what we want. So if you want something to be spawned where its bottom is the same bottom as the logic cube, so the very bottom of the coin crate here is the same very bottom of the logic cube, then you use that root. So now let's just create 3 of these. Go into test, and now we have 3 different coin crates. And that's great because, so we have these logic cubes, so say we have 20 of them. Now this coin crate, say we want to instead now, you know what, let's just destroy it instead of change its solid color. We just change that one line right there, and it's affected in every single instance of it in the game. Makes things so much easier, especially as you build bigger and bigger things. So get used to using templates. I want you to use that exact same thing that we did with this crate with this enemy. So go ahead and make this enemy a template. Bring in one of these logic cubes and replace it right here where the enemy should be, and then create that enemy the same exact way that we created this coin crate here. So you create the enemy at position root position, and then destroy this logic cube, and then make this enemy template, and go ahead and give him a name too. So I'm going to assume that you are going to be able to do that outside of here, because we're going to start the next tutorial with this enemy already a template. So see you guys soon.